This build is a bit of an unexpected one. A 12th gen Intel i5 paired with a Radeon RX 5700 XT. Honestly, I didn't think I'd be working with Radeon anytime soon with all those RTX cards piling up in my office. But hey, when the opportunity to snag a great GPU comes along, you take it. So let me break down what we've got in front of us on the test bench. A powerful Z690 Prime DDR4 board with an Intel i5-12400F, 32GB of Corsair RAM at 3200 Mbps and a fresh 512GB NVMe SSD, all kept cool by a slick NZXT 140mm cooler. And here's where it gets interesting. I picked up the case thinking it was a perfect match for the NZXT cooler. It's not a brand new case, but it's in amazing condition, and most importantly, it's also an NZXT. Only one thing. It came absolutely plastered with stickers and I spent hours scraping them off one by one. And after all that effort, I wasn't about to change the case when it turned out that the cooler didn't fit. So, plan B. I switched to a Thermalright Assassin cooler I've been keeping around for a while. And you know what? It's actually perfect for this setup. The Assassin handles up to 120 watts, so my 65 watt CPU is sitting cool and happy. Mounting wasn't my favorite part, but hey, it does the job well. After a bit of fiddling, I went for a push-pull configuration, not because it really needed it, but because it looked amazing with those clear-sided fans visible through the case. Speaking of fans, this isn't the quietest PC I've ever built, but with some tweaks in the BIOS I got it to a level I'm happy with. These fans don't have the best PWM control, so I switched them over to old school DC control, which turned out to be a win for noise management. And just because the motherboard supports it, I added an end-up to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card, just because I could. It's a nice little perk, but let's get to the real star of the show, this absolute unit of a GPU, the Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 5700 XT. And boy, this is by far the best 5700 XT I've ever worked with. 3 BIOS settings, an RGB controller and phenomenal cooling, even in silent mode, where there's even a 10% overclock out of the box. Compared to a standard or Chinese remanufactured RX 5700 XT like the Soyo card I featured a while back, this Nitro Plus runs 15 to 18% faster while being significantly quieter. I never thought I'm gonna say this, but I picked this card over any non-TI 3060 any day. So after all that setup and fine tuning, we have liftoff. Let's jump straight into the benchmarks and see what this PC can really do. Originally I was going to shorten this section, but the results were just too impressive to skip. So let's dive into the full benchmark suite, starting with some serious eye-openers. First up, in heaven, this build hit an exceptional 180 FPS. That's a full 10 FPS boost over the same RX 5700 XT chip in the Soyo GPU, and what's crazy? This is all on the silent BIOS. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I'm capturing all of this via a dedicated capture card to keep performance pure and unaffected. Next, 3D Mark, and funny enough, the Steel Nomad didn't seem to love this card. However, the score still came out as a solidly good, so I'll take that as a win. I ran the stress test multiple times and it passed with a comfortable margin every time. Honestly, no complaints here, I'm happy with that consistency. In Rocket League, we're seeing over 300 FPS. That's plenty for competitive play, which is exactly why I won't dwell on it too long. Safe to say, this system is more than ready for fast-paced action, and I bet the 12th gen Core i5 is pulling some serious weight here too. Fortnite comes with Lumen, and for those unfamiliar, Lumen's actually a pretty impressive software-based ray tracing solution, and it looks fantastic. We're hitting over 50 FPS with all the settings maxed out at Epic. Now, I know that might not seem ideal for ultra-competitive players who want every FPS boost possible, but honestly, it's a great balance for those who value stunning visuals while still enjoying smooth gameplay. And hey, if you're really that bothered, just turn down the settings and you'll be over 200 FPS in no time. Let's move on to Horizon Forbidden West, one of my personal picks for best looking games of the past year. Here we're averaging over 70 FPS. For a 1080p build, this is one of the most solid performances I've ever seen. No, it's not the ultimate budget gaming PC, but it's up there, especially with an LG 1700 Z series board that leaves room for future upgrades and packs in a quality mid-range CPU in the here and now. A Assassin's Creed Mirage delivered 116 FPS, making it an excellent experience for this game, which I think is the best AC release in a long time. It's focused, tight and just fun, which is refreshing, especially if you're an AC fan like me. It's not the biggest game, nor the most advanced in the series, but honestly, sometimes less is more. Tomb Raider, while an older title, is still one of my favorites to benchmark. It was a huge technical achievement in its day and still looks stunning at ultra quality. Here we're averaging 77 FPS. For anyone who gets that nostalgia ting remembering just how groundbreaking this game's visuals were, it's amazing to see it hold up so beautifully today. On to Far Cry 6, which scored an impressive 99 FPS on average. Now that's not the whole story, this game is famous for craving either a 3D cache or extremely high single core clock speeds, so we're a bit CPU limited here. Personally, I say the fix is really simple, crank up the resolution and let the visuals take over. Here's where I had to pick up my jaw from the floor. In the Black Myth Wukong benchmark we're seeing an average of 76 FPS on very high settings. This is phenomenal. Now to be clear, there's no ray tracing here since the card doesn't support it, which does boost our frame rates considerably, but to put it in perspective, this result is comparable to what an RTX 3080 would score with medium RT setting. And that's pretty wild for this card. And finally, Cyberpunk 2077. I'll be honest, I was stumped here. Despite my best efforts, the FPS stayed locked at 60. I turned off VSync, adjusted every setting that might have caused it, but nothing budged. So yeah, a bit of a mystery, but overall, Cyberpunk looks amazing as usual. And there you have it. This build surprised me with some incredible numbers across the board. Whether it's high frame rates in Rocket League or visually stunning results in games like Horizon Forbidden West, this setup proves you can get a fantastic experience without breaking the bank. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.